In September of 2020, Jackson State University hired Deion Sanders as their head coach of their program. Ever since that day, college football has been changing in a lot of ways, and Deion Sanders is at the forefront of a lot of those changes. He's really changing college football, in my opinion, for the better, and it's just going to keep changing, and he's going to have a long lasting impact on the sport. So today I'm going to be going over what he's been doing to two different programs, one in the FCS, now in the FBS, and how it's changing football and just taking advantage of the new rules that college football implemented with NIL and the transfer portal. When he was hired to Jackson State in September 2020, he went on in his first year in 2021 signed the highest rated recruiting class in Jackson State history in his first year there, going undefeated that season and breaking the FCS attendance record of like 40,000 fans at the game. He had an incredible first season, and that season was enough to sign the number one recruit in Travis Hunter in 2022, one of the highest rated recruits we've seen in the last like 10 years. An incredible cornerback receiver two-way player decided to go to Jackson State over a school like Florida State. That's insane. If you don't watch college football, the number one recruit going to an FCS school has, I don't know if it's happened before, but that's just showing the changes that Deion bringing and bringing more love to smaller schools, and everyone's not just going to these top schools. They ended up having two NFL draft picks at Jackson State in the last 2 years. James Houston and Isaiah Bolden were both selected in the 22 and 23 respective classes. They ended up in 2022 with Travis Hunter and Deion Sanders' son Shador Sanders at the helm, going 12-1, only losing their last game in 2022. They ended up having 7 games on ESPN, which is insane for an FCS school. He brought that Jackson State program into the light of the nation, not just local, not just FCS light, in the light of the nation. Everyone knew who Jackson State was, bringing players to light, getting dudes drafted, bringing record-breaking attendance to the games, and really changing the whole landscape of FCS and HBCU schools. Deion Sanders made that a point of bringing light to these HBCU schools who were underrated in the national eye. Before that, he helped bring the light. And now, after having incredible success at Jackson State, Deion Sanders said, "You know what? I've done a great thing at Jackson State, but I think I can take this to the next level." And he did just that. On December 4th of 2022, he took the Colorado Buffaloes head coaching job. Now, as a guy from Colorado myself, I was born and raised about 20 minutes from CU Boulder's campus and their stadium. Went to all the kids' game. They were solid, long time ago when I was a kid, but the last couple of years, Colorado has not been a program of success, let's say. The last 12 years, Colorado's records are 1-11. I took out 2020 because they only played like 6 games, but they were 1-11, 4-8, 5-7, 5-7, 10-4. They had one good year where they made it to the Pac-12 championship and lost to Washington. But then 4-9, 2-10, 4-8, 1-11, 3-10, 5-7, 3-9. So the last 12 years, they've had one season above a 500 record. Last year, they were one of the last winless teams in the nation. It's just been struggle from Colorado. We get some good recruits and they leave. Christian Gonzalez is a great recruit for CU. Then he transfers out to Oregon and balls there. Brendan Rice comes in as Deion Sanders, or not Deion Sanders, Jerry Rice's son comes to Colorado, transfers, has a good year at USC. Talent just hasn't stayed and come through Colorado consistently enough to be a good program. In and out of coaches, getting Mel Tucker came in from Georgia. He leaves like right away and goes to Michigan State. That was a whole disaster. It's been a disaster in Colorado football for a while. And, it was down. A lot of people weren't talking about Colorado football, even here. I mean, Colorado and Colorado State are just two of the worst teams in the nation every year. We just can't find success here. And then Deion Sanders comes, and you wonder, he had that pull at an FCS level. What can he actually do at an FBS level, though? Is it a thing that he can actually compete against these big teams? We don't know the answer to that yet because he hasn't played. But since coming, just listen to all the talent that he's brought in. Since Deion Sanders came, only 10 scholarship players remain. There was like 86, I believe, scholarship players on the Colorado roster set to return this year. Only 10 scholarship players remain from that original roster. Since then, he has brought in he has brought in 9 Jackson State transfers, 24 Power 5 transfers, 46 four-year college football players transfer, 17 new 2023 signees, and 5 JUCO transfers. He has been the definition of transfer portal. The numbers he has brought in and out of the transfer portal is nothing like we've ever seen, and he is really setting the standard for what the transfer portal can be used as. And in those transfer portals, you might be saying, yeah, he got a lot of players, but did he get good players? Let me tell you. Travis Hunter, 5-star, transfers over from Jackson State. We talked about him already. Shedeur Sanders, former 4-star player on some sites, won plenty of awards like Freshman of the Year and the FCS, plenty of awards in Jackson State, ends up transferring over. Those are the dudes, came with him. But outside of Florida State, they brought in Miles Slusher, a former 5-star safety from Louisville, Vonta Bentley, former 3-star linebacker from Clemson, Savell, sorry if I pronounce it wrong, Savell Smalls, a former 5-star edge from Washington who's just kind of buried behind Zion and Braylon Trice over there at Washington. Then Demoy Kennedy, a former 5-star linebacker from Bama. Alton McCaskill, former AAC Rookie of the Year at Houston, who tore his ACL last year, ends up transferring over from Houston. Brendan Grant, Amarian Cooper, and Travis Joy, all former 4-stars, transferring over from Deion's alma mater, Florida State. 2 more 4-stars and 14 other former 3-star transfers coming into the program. That transfer talent is insane. Like, those are top dudes all choosing to come to Colorado, who I guarantee not a single one of those guys would have chosen to go to Colorado if Deion Sanders wasn't here. So just that, being able to bring that talent is insane. And then among all those transfers, he brings in 5-star Cormani McClain, who chooses 5-star corner, chooses Colorado over the likes of Miami, Florida, Alabama, and Georgia. All offered him, and he chose to come to Colorado and play with Deion and Travis Hunter. Also signed 4-stars in Dylan Edwards, Amarian Miller, Adam Hopkins, bringing in great talent. Just in the 2023 class, keep in mind, he came in December. Usually signing day is in mid-December for a lot of these big guys where they sign in December. So he didn't have a lot of time to do scouting and recruiting work in the 2023 class, and already brought in a 5-star and 3 4-stars in that class. He already has 4 4-star commits in the class of 2024. So he's already looking in that 2024 and already getting commits from huge prospects. And the big thing that really settles change, Deion Sanders sold out the spring game, which I know that doesn't seem crazy to some people. Some states have really big football programs and their spring games might be sold out a lot. But let me tell you, Colorado does not sell out spring games. That game was snowing in Colorado in the spring, and it was sold out. Everyone and their moms wanted to come see Deion Sanders coach this team. He put out a good show for all the CU fans. And trust me, like, when I say, like, people don't talk about Colorado football here, like, living right around the area, they don't. People just haven't. But let me tell you, since Deion came, that is a completely different story. Deion's all over the news. People are excited about this team. People are bringing in. It's just a thing that I haven't seen in, like, since I was a kid back in the early 2000s. Just being able to see all this hype and energy around the Colorado football program is something we haven't seen. Deion Sanders is just that. I mean, Deion Sanders is the definition of using NIL and transfer portal to his advantage, because he knows he can help get NIL deals for guys like Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, and like Cormani McClain. He can help get those guys NIL because of his name. I mean, he's Deion Sanders. Like, he knows how to network and get these NIL deals for his players. Nonetheless, who doesn't want to play for Deion? If you're a cornerback, Travis Hunter, Cormani McClain, why would you not want to play with one of the greatest corners of, if not the greatest corner of all time in the NFL? Plus, he brings over an incredible coaching staff. I don't have all the names, but like, his coaching staff's incredible. It sounds like little documentaries that some of the guys have been doing about the Colorado program. If you want to go watch those on YouTube, those are incredible too, about just getting a look behind the scenes with all their coaching staff and all the transfers and everyone just coming together at CU. But Deion Sanders has came into now 2 programs, completely overhauled the roster. We've seen him take Jackson State to back-to-back FCS not FCS championships, but back-to-back FCS contention. and just being one of the best teams, going undefeated and only one loss in his 2 major years there as the head coach at Jackson State. We've seen the talent turnover at CU. We still have yet to see what that record's going to look like. It's a really strong Pac 12, as I've talked to. But man, am I excited to see this team compete. I don't know. They're not going to be like undefeated like they were at Jackson State his first year. But don't be surprised if CU beats one of the, I think CU is going to be one of those teams where, they could lose any game, but I think they could win any game, man. I wouldn't be surprised if they have 1 or 2 wins against top 25 teams this year, just because when you have that much talent, you always have that upside of just having one game where it comes together. You get the dudes hyped up. That coaching staff is going to have those dudes ready. Deion Sanders is going to have those dudes ready to play and compete against any team in the nation. I guarantee you, Deion Sanders will have this team thinking that they can beat any team in the nation. Whether or not they can, I don't know yet. But whether or not they think they can, I know. I know they think that. They are going to think that they can beat any team in the nation. We talked about 2 draft picks from the NFL. CU has had a couple draft picks here and there, from Davion Taylor to what's his name, the dude who got drafted to the Jaguars, now on the Panthers, the receiver, whose name is just completely blank in my mind. They've had a couple draft picks, but I think they're gonna have even more. I mean, Travis Hunter's probably gonna be a first round pick. Shador Sanders, some people are talking about coming out this year as the first round. I think he stays with Travis Hunter for another year, and he could end up being, maybe, I don't know about a first, but maybe a second round pick. He's got the talent. And then you got all these 5-star dudes looking up. I love Alton McCaskill. He was one of my favorite dudes before entering the transfer portal. Now he is committed to CU. We'll see what it's like. But anyways, that's going to be it for my video. Let me know what you guys think about Deion down below. I just kind of want to show that Deion, kind of, some of the talent is just insane. If you haven't been following Colorado football, it's my expectation. You wonder why, like, I have CU maybe potentially beating some teams in the future. This is why, because Deion Sanders is just changing football. And I think we're going to see more teams take advantage of the NIL and transfer portal like this when a big coach comes to no program. Don't be surprised. People are saying Deion is just this awful dude for unloading all this talent and doing it. Listen, football's a business, and let me tell you, Deion ain't gonna be the only one. You're gonna see coaches year after year doing this same thing, following Deion's structure of how to rebuild a college football program. And the only thing we can do is just sit back and see if it works. Anyways, subscribe and like for more videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one.